Hey, this is Notser, and once again, we're taking a look at Project Cold War. This time, we're taking a look at Kent. The day that this has gone up, Wargaming updated the game. You actually have access to unlocking Walker, which is another attacker. I will attempt to unlock and share a video with you in the coming days, so take a look at that. But Kent is another attacker that I haven't covered, and I would like the chance to. Played a little bit of it, and I have a general idea of what to expect with what they have to offer. Now, I think very strongly in the words work in progress, and the content is not final. And I do believe that that applies to Kent. So Kent has some features, some upgrades, and some perks, but it does feel like there is something missing due to the way that the agent works. So 6-hit wonder is the front man trait. After getting 6 consecutive shots, it reduces your gun dispersion while moving by 30% or 25 seconds. So effectively encouraging you to be actively maneuvering to maximize maybe your potential defensive or offensive capability. And burst fire. And there's nothing else. There's no other abilities. There's nothing that uses energy, but yet there are references all over this agent to that very thing. First perk. Increases your energy regeneration rate, but you don't use any energy because you don't have any abilities. So second wind doesn't really make any sense. Then you have tank reverse speed. Okay, that's normal. Then you have reduces smoke mortar ability cooldown. You don't have a smoke mortar ability. So 2 of the 3 are referencing something that doesn't even exist on the tank right now. For the second perk, you can choose between aiming speed, reducing the energy cost of all the abilities. You have no abilities, so how do they cost energy? And reduces the gun reload time, which that could be really nice as well. It does take a while because of the huge clip. And then the final perk slot, you can choose between gun stabilization, reducing the duration of fire and the fire damage, or improving your peripheral vision. So a lot of odd options, especially in the first slot for perks, just pretty much useless. Like, okay, I don't use energy, and I don't know why you're asking me to use energy. And for consumables, your typical consumables that are available, you've got repair kit, which of course, universal, energy boost, extinguisher, and a med kit. As far as the upgrades that you can choose from, there's only 2 in pretty much every single slot. So to me, every single slot is missing at least 1 upgrade option. For the first one, you can choose between penetration power, module damage, or damage potentially plus crit modifier. I think crit and damage up front are both really important. Obviously, if there was a third option and maybe it synergized with abilities that aren't on the agent, that would change. The way that this tank plays, it has a 12-round clip that burst fires every 3 shells. So every time you pull the trigger, it fires 3 rounds, whether you wanted to fire anything else than that. You can force it to reload, but it won't reload until all 12 rounds have exited the cannon. So you will have to manage it similar to Udarnik, where you would have 1 shell left in the clip. Well, you just killed off a target. It's better to reload while you're moving to your next target. That is a similar gameplay loop that you need to understand with Kent. And with the shooter key binding, I think it's X, and with tanks, I think it's C, but I'm not quite sure. Now, for slot 2, you can choose between mobility or reticle consistency, which is kind of what you ultimately choose between on this tank. You choose a lot of the options are either standing or maybe your aim speed, which would recover after moving. So a standing position and a movement position based upgrade. We have movement based upgrade, or we could make you more resilient to incoming. Crits on the engine and the gun. Ammo, very, very high probability with this type of tank. So I think mobility is the way to go with it. It just makes you more deadly by being able to cut in, kill the target off, disengage, maybe heal up with repair kit, and then come from a different direction. and you can unload really quickly and do a ton of damage. Slot 5, traversal speed of the hull, or your absolute speed. So your close-in knife fighting or your absolute speed to traverse the map and get into flanking positions. I choose flanking. I think that's probably the way to go in that option. Honestly, what I really would like is this to be more fleshed out because it is a unique gameplay loop that other agents don't have, and there's just no abilities here to like further make it special. Now we have zoom factor, so improves the scope zoom. I think 8 is the default, so 10 is not much more, and it improves the aim speed. Or you can have Radical D, which makes it more effective in close range because it unloads the shells faster. We've got spotting range for reticle size while standing, so a stationary position, maybe a long range fire support or close-in maneuvering. And then for this one, we've got reticle size and hit points or gun elevation speed. So maybe this will allow it to handle better in close range to get it down, or maybe at long range, you can change the elevation quicker. I don't know. I would guess the hit points are valuable, but reticle size max could be maneuverability as well. For slot 9, we've got signal range with spotting angle or spotting range with spotting angle. So one is more for long range versus more for team radio communication. So someone who has vision on something, you can extend your radio out and reach them, or you can be super close and, you know, no need to have someone tell you the position. You can see it for yourself because that synergizes more with the playstyle. So right now, they present two potential playstyles for the Kent. Sort of a close range brawler that can unload a lot of damage in a short amount of time, or kind of a long range accurate specialist that is able to burst fire from range and maybe potentially knock out the engine or the tracks. And for the final upgrade, you can choose between damage and the unload rate. So further encouraging you to do a ton of damage in a short amount of time, so close range, I'd say, or improving your reticle size after shot versus max. So that actually, this ruins your shell speed. So this directly affects that. So maybe they feel like you can afford to make yourself vulnerable to unload your magazine quicker at range because you will inherently be more vulnerable, or having a close range specializing, which means that you'll have, you know, pinpoint accurate shells when you're driving around willy-nilly. I would prefer that there would be a third option with abilities to kind of refine the way that Kent plays. Because honestly, Kent, it's all about the gun system. And what can I say? It's one of the few burst fire in the game, and because of that, there's nothing else that you really need as a reason to potentially pick it up if you're into that type of gameplay, which we're going to show off, and yeah, maybe some of you are. All right, so first game, Conquest mode, 10 versus 10, unlimited respawn, and I enjoyed this map, but I don't know that I enjoy it on the Kent. You know, obviously, if you're familiar with World of Tanks, limiting the number of abilities that you have to use is more familiar. However, I think that I like the ability usage in this game. It creates greater divide in skill because you need to also consider ability usage. So for me, I think that Kent, while being interesting in the basic sense with the gun system, I really need more, and I hope there will be more with this agent as we get closer to release. So we capped the closest base, and I decided to head out towards Sea Point. Now, I've enhanced the mobility of the agent, and I think that that obviously is important on any attacker, and it's one of the primary things. We're not really getting the most damage on this guy. I have not upgraded him as much as I wish, But we do get a little ram damage there clipping. And we're reloading. 15 seconds to reload this with the current upgrades, but as we saw, there are ways to improve that. To me, this is really where the close range is where it really shines. It can just unload a ton of damage in a short amount of time. You know, the only thing that would maybe do more damage potentially after upgrading and playstyle could be Akira in the crit position, but of course they're nerfing Akira as well. So yeah, you know, this 12 round clip burst fire mode is pretty fun. Sounds good, nice and meaty. The 6-hit wonder activates really frequently, so it is a way to encourage active mobility, because as you know, the frontman trait makes it to where movement doesn't affect the accuracy as much. So, you know, in that way it's fun and straightforward, you know, just drive around and aim your gun. I just think that over time, driving around and aiming your gun isn't going to be good enough in this type of environment because it's encouraging you to excel at maybe your unique trait along with, and we're getting some really good damage in that guy, which hopefully set up for a team kill there. Someone is attempting to contest the base that's near our original spawn. I will say, it is very sexy to watch these guns reload, and you can see them like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So there's a lot of physical decorations and animation that just makes this a real pleasure to watch fighting in combat. And I don't want to undersell any part of this tank. It's fun. I like it. It's just really, it's really one note right now. And unfortunately, I think it wasn't going to be one note. I think it was going to be something else along with this playstyle. And for whatever reason, it was overpowered, or it just didn't make sense, or they needed to refine it before release. But for whatever reason, they abandoned partial design for Kent. And yeah, that means that there's going to be changes. So, you know, what we're judging here, obviously the clip, the armor, I like the clipping. It seems to, you know, be consistent for crit follow-up, and I really like the way that Kent feels in that way. Gun's nice. You know, I wish it would unload a little faster, but of course those are upgrades that will be available, so I could choose to be more aggressive. I really like that defenders have a lot of speed. And God, these guys are just letting damage happen to them. They're not really putting up a fight. But that's one thing that can happen with the Kent, is it can be overwhelming how much damage can come in from the Kent and how high it can be. See if we can get a long range shot with the Kent. Show you how much pen. Oh, hello there. I see, we have an enemy. Yeah, rapidly assist in the killing. We have another enemy who's trying to go over open terrain. Honestly, I think 6-hit wonder seems to proc more frequently than the description suggests. So maybe instead of consecutive, it is just 6 shells. If it was consecutive, you know, maybe that would mean that it wouldn't proc as frequently. So in my mind, I think what Wargaming is attempting to do is they're attempting to make the frontman trait the most important ability, quote unquote, that is the agent defining trait that really informs the way they envision the player playing the agent. And I think that means they envision this guy driving around, firing on the move. And to do that, you need to improve the gun accuracy, the way it handles when you're driving. But doing that, driving around and shooting your gun, it feels really good. It looks really good. I mean, I love the way that Wargaming's art department designs and stuff, you can see you've got like a rack of rifles, a bunch of boxes, different assortment of things that you might have. I think there's an axe and like a hammer on this. So yeah, really, really cool. Honestly, I think the Kent looks cooler from the rear than it does from the front. In the comments, tell me what you think of that. A nice little ram there. Very fast. Obviously, that's a defender trait to move around the map quickly, and I don't expect it to not continue that way. And yeah, that was a pretty nice stomp, if I do say so myself. And man, that Jaeger, he must have just had a really great kill box going. So we'll have a second game to show off Kent, and yeah, then we'll move on from that. Now, one cool thing is Wargaming's updating the game one last time. It got extended until, I think, Sunday, and Walker is going to be available, and we'll take a look at Walker at some point. It's an attacker that is like a Eastern German communist like tank, so it's like a T60 something, T50 something, and yeah, we'll see how the playstyle works out for that one, and that should be up as you're listening to this now. And sorry if you can't get in the closed alpha. Make sure that you join the Discord and follow all the information. I'm sure once you apply, you very well will be selected. The game, for as visually polished as it can look, there's still a lot of systems that they have to put work into. It is very much not ready. And the more I play it, the more you can really see that there's a lot of ideas that are just disabled. And, all of that will affect the way the game plays. So we'll see how all of that comes into the game and what they keep and what they change. So we headed over to B. Did some decent damage. Firing on that mid turret hull of the M1. Weakness in the front. Obviously, it's conflicting. It's awkward because the only thing that you really have to make a difference is your gun. So if your gun isn't making a difference, then you're not making a difference. So you have to be firing your gun or be reloading to be contributing with the current design that Kent has. But B point's captured and E is being under conflict. It's conflicting. It's being conflicted. I don't know if I want to be red or green today. Well, I guess it always is green to someone. Taking fire. Need assistance from the ridge over there. Okay, well, we're just gonna... of course, Jaeger. Puts that guy right there. See you, Mr. Kent. Really would love to unload faster. You can just envision how deadly this tank can really be with upgrades. And, maybe Wargaming decided, we don't need to have a lot of abilities on this tank. The gun is its defining characteristic, and that's what we're going to go with. And maybe that's more than enough for it. The burst fire mechanic. I'm trying to find who would be able to fire more shells in the game, and I can't really find that right now. So this guy probably has the largest clip, and with the right upgrades and the right kill box, you could wreck an entire flank of an enemy. Works really well on Conquest or even plant and defuse. No. Don't like you at all. This is gonna hurt. No, we're not getting away. We're dead. That's what we're doing. Let's see if we can... Yeah. Yep. Always happy to die. So yeah. The Kent having the two basic play styles: long range, high accurate fire support, or high mobility, maybe transition to close range, DPSer. Either one can work well. I do question the long range. It doesn't have thermal imaging, for example, and if you're not a smoke thermal at long range, you're kind of at a weakness. But enemy team's conflict on B point will force my hand to come in. We get a little side shot on a Reaper. He's driving aggressively around.
That's some emotional damage.
Yeah, that's some emotional damage. Let's do some real damage. Obviously, the gun's super satisfying. I think the UI works really well. I can clearly see. If you notice that when I hit like a confirmed damage, it will hold a green like target where the shell hit the enemy target, and then it will transition up to the one of the 5 or 6 shells that are indicated on it. So I think they've done a good job of like recognizing what they need to highlight in the UI. So I'm happy. Just really curious where they go. So here we bumped into someone that we really don't want to bump into. But my whole goal here is to help my team from side shots. And the chopper, he doesn't want to take damage from us, but he doesn't really have a choice. And oh, they choose B point to blow up. Trying to knock his turret treads down. I will say that it doesn't feel like I can consistently or reliably track a target unless it's like a point blank thing.
Did we just run over something?
Yeah, we just ran over something, and we're getting run over by this guy. And he takes us down. Well played, guys. Obviously, too many enemies there. But you can definitely see the two types of play styles there. I wish there was a third, you know, a simple ability here or there. Easily could do just that. It almost feels like, for example, Reaper has too many options for abilities. You know, they don't all synergize, and I know Wargaming is updating and making them synergize. But then you have this guy. He doesn't have any abilities. He can't put smoke out. He can't do anything. He's just got his gun. So yeah, it's okay. I just know that this is gonna change. I just can't imagine that this is the final version of the Kent. I like the gameplay loop so far. I just need more. And we're taking side shots here. Trying to work on his corner pocket, because that would really be nice. And of course we don't. And ran out of ammo there. Needed a crit or two to push it over, but we didn't get him. And that is one thing that you'll notice about the burst clip, is it gives you a higher probability to crit in close range. So you can really burst through someone's hit point pool. And as you can imagine, that one upgrade that lets you unload, I think there's 2 upgrades potentially for unloading the gun. You can obviously imagine having 2 extra upgrades that enhance your unload potential. You're really going to burst through. You know, that side shot on that chopper, probably be able to do 1,000 points of damage before he even turns the turret in the fully upgraded version of the Kent. So yeah, I mean, the Kent's got a lot of sexiness with these guns, but it's really vulnerable to anyone who outplays through ability usage. And you don't have any like counterplay. Your counterplay is that you can drive away and have good accuracy. So once again, we're reloading. Look at that reload animation. It's just so cool. It's one of the cool things about this tank, is just watching the rear parts of it just work its magic while you're getting ready. You know, 15 seconds. It's a long time, but at least it's cool visually to see that, because you see everything in front of you. You know, it's obvious. It's chaos. Can we get another side shot? Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, it works through damage. The Akira is afraid of us for sure. I think we could take the Akira and straight up. He decides to unload a little bit. Now remember, Akira, he generates heat, and he needs to allow the generation to sort of cool off a little bit before he can fire again. So I have a potential higher burst at this point, and I'm just feeling like, oh, my burst is going to carry me through this. No, it's not. It's not going to carry us through this. And we missed out on the kill, and we lose that game. But yeah, If you like the video, please leave in the comments what you think of the Kent. I would love some smoke play potentially, maybe that smoke mortar, but yeah. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.